Thanks for tuning into the 6-3 podcast. I'm your host, Joel, with my co-host, Ben. And the Detroit Lions season has come to an end, and it's come to a resounding, amazing season for what we expected and finished. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
all in all, entirety of the season. No. When you start 1-6, can't lump that in together. But when you finish 8-2, you can say that you have carried some well-deserved momentum into the next season, and you've knocked off the Packers.
Yep.
You can't make it to the playoffs, neither do they. You
Yep.
may have sent Aaron Rodgers into retirement. You
Mhm.
may have Alan Lazard in his press conference said, I'm done. Like, screw these guys. I'm checked
Sounds like
out.
he's out. Yep.
Yeah. So it's just, I think, we put them into a spinach, and maybe they crumble a little bit. I saw a headline that LaFleur might welcome Hackett back to his offensive staff, but the Packers could be struggling for the next couple of years if that's the case. And what a beautiful thing that would be. Sets the Lions up for at least another top 2 finish next year. Hopefully, at least for sure, a wild card spot next year is what they need. If not the division, I think they're a team. They're a force to be reckoned with right now. And
Well, I mean, they were 5-1 in the division, right?
yeah, and they're actually one of 3 teams in the entire NFL that did 5-1 or better.
Yep. And then they obviously didn't win their division, which is frustrating, right?
Yeah,
they
a
were the
bad
best
last
team.
drive away from finishing undefeated.
Yep. They were the best team in the division, playing within the division in the NFC North, which is great. I mean, Dan Campbell talked about it. He said, we need to be competing for a division championship next year by year 3 is what he said. And he said, there's no excuses. There's no reason why we shouldn't. Right. And I would say they put themselves in such a bad hole at the beginning of the season that was pretty much out of the question from the beginning, from the first 7 games of the year. But to close 8-2, unfortunately they needed to win one more game. They needed to be 9-1, and we could be talking about them still playing. But to close 8-2, I don't think anybody would have. If you would have asked me what I thought they would finish, I think I probably would have said 6-4.
Best case, I kind of was in that same.
Maybe
Yeah.
7-3.
I didn't expect them to start 1-6 either. So
no. They just needed to play 500 football at the beginning of the year until they figured some things out, and they just weren't able to do that, unfortunately. And they've learned and they grew a lot. They figured out a lot.
They bought in.
They figured out a lot about themselves, and they figured out a lot about the coaches. Learned a lot as they went along. The defense got significantly better as the season went along. They're still not good. They're still the weak point of the team, but you kind of saw them coming along, and they were the worst defense in the NFL for those first 7 games, and it wasn't even close. And they got themselves into like a lower end but lower middle tier defense towards by the end of the year, which is something. It is saying something. That'll keep them in most games if they play, even if they're that the whole way next year. That'll give them a chance in most of the games. So
yeah, they do get a second place schedule, so there are some tougher games. They released that schedule, and I gotta see if I can find some of them. But home games against Bears, Packers, Vikings, obviously, and the Falcons, Panthers, Broncos, Raiders, Seahawks. As their
I'm
home
not
games.
worried about any of those games.
I actually think they could go undefeated at home.
They could. I don't think they will, because you'll drop 1 or 2. But
even if you go 7-1, that's starting to be. Away games, they've got Bears, Packers, Vikings, Chiefs, Chargers, Saints, Buccaneers, Cowboys, Ravens.
Yeah, they could lose all those games.
Hopefully not the Bears.
Maybe not the Saints.
I still think
Saints
the Bears.
The Saints and the Bears are the ones that are going to be tough. But
I think the Buccaneers, if they don't have Tom Brady.
Yeah, if Brady's done, depending on, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back either, though. I don't think he's as dead set as not playing as Aaron Rodgers.
And then they could beat the Packers too if the Packers are really a dumpster fire come this offseason.
Yeah, they definitely could beat them twice again. So I think.
But like Viking, Chiefs, Chargers, Cowboys looks rough. Ravens, Lamar Jackson. Who knows if they don't pay Lamar?
And here's the thing. Like they need to eventually beat some of these teams that they're maybe not supposed to beat every once in a while, right? That's kind of the next step. Is like maybe sneak a win, 2 wins a year out of against teams that are probably better than you, yet you just got to find a way to beat them on any given Sunday, right? Um, so I think that is the next step. And, that'll get them firmly into the playoff, contention and competing for the division. They can't just beat up on teams that stink, So, but they've got some decisions to make this offseason. It's interesting. They've got some things to figure out for sure. Draft for sure, and then some re-signings and
We hit the free agent pool running because I think there's going to be people that want to play for these Lions right now, these
think
brand new Lions.
I think there's going to be a lot of players that want to play for Dan Campbell and this staff, and we'll see how the staff shakes out. I'm guessing there'll be a little bit of movement, but you know, what do they do with Jamal Williams and Swift? What do they do? What are the thoughts there? How do the receivers?
Do they re-sign DJ? Did DJ Shark do his prove it deal any justice?
Right. I think he did. Honestly, when fully healthy, he was really good. But is he kind of a guy who's always going to be hurt? Right.
Yeah, he missed 6 games this year.
Right.
Like
it's almost, is it worth it re-signing him for any period of time if you think he's going to miss some time, right?
Or anything more. I would do like a 3-year that averages like $8 to $8.5 million a year.
I would do it. I wouldn't do much more than that though.
Yeah. No, I mean they paid him $10 million this year, and I think that if he played 12 maybe 13 games, only missed like 3, then yeah, I think 10 million is like fine. But you just didn't prove enough that he's consistently injured every year. So
right, and that's kind of been his downfall for the most part. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. What do they do in the draft? They've got some nice draft capital built up now. Do they just go all defense? You probably still need to bolster some depth in some spots on offense still. Or is there a spot that you're like, man, we can't pass this guy up if he falls to us or whatever? Where does Jameson Williams' development come in? Like, how does he look with a full healthy offseason to get timing down with Goff? How does that kind of change their offense? And I think the biggest thing is what do they do with the running back spot? Jamal had such a good year, but do you look at it as
is it an offensive line? Is it behind the offensive line?
Well, is that really ever going to happen again? You know what I mean? Like, he had a great year. Don't get me wrong, and I love Jamal Williams, and I would love for the Lions to find a way to keep him. And I think he wants to.
I just think running backs are there's so many you can get now.
Right, and I think he really wants to play for Detroit, but it's like, is that year that he had last year just kind of a flash in the pan? Right.
Is he gonna want $7 to $10 million a year?
Yeah, what kind of money does he want too? Like, is he willing to take maybe a little bit less to keep everybody else around him too, and to stay in Detroit? Because if he's willing to do that, then I find a way to keep him for sure.
Still always the running back by committee. I mean, it worked out, but I think Swift at the end of the season showed a ton of improvement.
Swift is better than Williams, fully healthy and engaged and doing what he's supposed to do. I mean, I think Williams would tell you Swift is better than Williams if he's fully healthy. The problem is you got to have another legitimate running back when DeAndre Swift is your quote unquote running back one, because he's not going to be fully healthy all the time either. At this point, it's quite obvious he's not going to be the fully healthy guy, and that's fine. I mean, Alvin Kamara is the same way. He can't. His best seasons came when they still had Mark Ingram, right? That's fine if that's the kind of guy he is, but then you got to devote some money to a guy like Jamal Williams or somebody like that, right? So I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't. I have no vibe on what their thoughts are there.
I think there needs to be an overhaul in the secondary.
Yep, blow that thing up.
Corner
especially. Corner
you can say Tracy Walker can come back, but again, injured, he's going to have some catching up to do. Deshaun Elliott played pretty well overall.
Kirby Joseph
and Kirby Joseph obviously is I think he could be on an all rookie team, really. Yep. Corner, I think you give Okuda one more year.
Yep.
And then
what year is he on now of his contract?
I think he's still got one more full year on his contract.
Well, they've got the 5th-year rookie option too.
Yeah.
I think Holmes talked about that today, where he basically was honest about it. He said, because they asked him, what do you think? Are you going to get him for, are you going to re-sign him for that 5th year? Because sometimes they'll do it preemptively and already take that option. And he goes, well, Jeff has had some really good and some really, really bad. So we'll see, basically. So I think But he did say, this past year was almost like a rookie year for him because he's had so many injuries. So, um, I don't know. I think they're going to use. I think they'll give him one more year to try to make it see if it's worth it for that fifth year option.
Yeah, I think you can keep Jerry Jacobs, but I think he's got to be like a back. He's got to be your backup. He's got to be like a Mike Ford that we've had
Yeah,
for all this year. I mean, he's not a guy that's like I need him starting out every year. Mike Hughes, I don't know if I'd bring back Mike Hughes.
I wouldn't bring back my not unless if you can find better options, right? So I want them. I would what I would like them to do is draft a corner,
Or
draft the
two.
best corner you can find, maybe multiple, but draft the best corner you can find early if possible, right? Because you're not in the top five, right? So you don't need to go just with one of those two picks that they have in the first round. I
I
would
like
take it.
pick 18 to be a
Yeah,
corner. I
a
think
little bit
there's
lower
a
down.
pretty yeah.
But then I would enjoy for them to go. I would really like them to go get a free agent corner if possible. Spend some money on a corner.
Not like Desmond Trufant.
CJ Gardner Johnson, somebody like that, somebody legitimately good, but kind of maybe flies under the radar, not like somebody who's like gonna pop off the page, but somebody who's real, like a
Get
real.
Jair Alexander, right?
No, not somebody like that, right? Who's just crazy lockdown, but somebody who's legitimately good, who can kind of change your defense quietly, right? Without maybe not necessarily all the flash, right? But it's just a legitimately good corner, and then you draft somebody, and then you fight it out with that rookie, and Akuda can fight it out for the number two spot. And then Akuda can be cornerback three and play in the box as a safety and stuff like that. I think that's a good secondary at that point. With the safeties, Tracy Walker, Kirby Joseph coming back. I feel like you can feel pretty good if you do that. And then I think they need to take a linebacker too. I think maybe with the early pick.
Yeah, no, I think I was talking about like, Trenton Simpson from Clemson kind of
Mhm.
jumps out as a name that I like. And I think there's one other linebacker. I mean, Noah Sewell, Pete
Well,
Pinay's
so
brother.
if you want to take Panay's brother,
I think
I
see
don't love
Henry
him.
Toyota Odo is more like a second round linebacker to me.
Yeah, I think he could be really good if you got him later.
Hmm
If you had the second round, like a mid second round pick, and he was there, I would take him there. I think he's good. He's a little undersized though. He reminds me a little bit of N'Kobe Dean, but slower.
Is there any
Uh,
miraculous way that Jalen Carter falls to six?
no, I don't
Yeah.
think so.
And would you take Will Anderson if he fell to six? Because edge did not seem to be the problem this year all of a sudden.
No, but like, yeah, I don't know. I think there's gotta be if you're looking at the top five, right? And the Lions are at six, right? You probably got to circle two guys in that top five who, if they fell to you, you're taking regardless of position. Uh, I don't know if Will Anderson's one of them. I think Jalen Carter obviously is, but he's one. And then I don't know who else is there, right?
Well, because I think Jalen Carter also fills a positional need as well as being. I think
Correct.
D tackle. We need another one. Ali McNeil did fine.
Lee
Like
McNeil's great, but just
I
but
don't
just
think Levi and Wuzurike is going to be fine.
no, he's that
Isaiah Buggs did pretty good, but I like Isaiah
Dave
Buggs
Bucks
as a
is great, but
rotational.
we also need depth and more impact there, right? I think they got better. Liam McNeil was great this year. I think he
Isaiah
was
Buggs showed out in the last couple too.
he did, and they got better, right? But you pair what they have on the edge with Aiden, and then you'll get a fully operational probably Josh Pascal next year. We haven't even really seen what he can do in flashes. He has. You could possibly bring back John Kaminsky. That's another guy you could bring back.
I
You
like
could
him for a cheaper deal. Yeah.
right. Um, you've got options there that I think
Straight up said, I want to come back. Kaminsky's like, I want
he
to be
did.
here.
He wants
Yeah.
to be there. Yeah. And I think that he's a Dan Campbell guy. Like I think
Yeah.
they'll find a way to bring him back, right? Um, I think that team or that, you add a Jalen Carter to that front, and I think they would be so tough to block. But at the same time, I mean, there is sort of a weakness opposite Hutch, right? I don't love the other end, right? Um,
I should have been more consistent this year. Julian Aquara will come back.
mhm.
Obviously, James Houston he's a pass rush specialist, and that's about
Right.
it.
Yep.
Charles Harris, he spent a lot of his season on the IR. And I think they
Yep.
re-signed him with the expectation that he was going to repeat what he did last year.
Yep. And he
Um,
didn't. And,
no,
that's probably not all his fault. I feel like they felt good about, Hutch and then Harris as two pass rushers. I don't
turned
love
out that
that.
Houston and Hutch were the rock stars by the end.
Right. Right. And maybe they thought, Houston was a diamond in the rough. They found him and developed him this year, and that was great. Um, I don't, I guess the question is, how much do they think he can come along, in run stopping too? Can they use him more often, right? Or is he just a pass rush guy? Which it's okay if he's just a pass rush guy, but then
You'll
you're
need someone.
wasting
Yeah.
a roster spot on just a pass rush guy, which you need to do probably, right? But then it's
Yeah.
just he doesn't add anything else, right? So I don't know. It's interesting to see. I don't think there's any way Jalen Carter falls. I think if they really want Jalen Carter, they'd have to trade up.
But probably not till like probably three. I feel like because I think the Bears really are going to try to trade out of this spot. And I think the first two
I think
almost
they will
are.
too.
I think it's going to be Young and Stroud. Like that's kind of what I'm anticipating.
I think it'll be Young and Stroud, and then three will be Jalen Carter.
That's kind of what I'm anticipating. I'm like, you probably have to trade a three.
Yep, if you want him,
Mm.
or trade for him after the fact or whatever. But I don't think there's any.
But if
Yeah,
the
I don't think
Bears
there's
can't trade out of
anything
one, I think Jalen Carter still fits with what they want.
what the Bears
Like these,
want.
I think the Bears, yeah, the Bears at
Yeah,
number
yeah,
one.
no, I think the way what they're going to do is shop number one is a crazy expensive pick, right? Or something crazy that they need to get a lot for. And if they don't get it, then they'll just take Jalen Carter and move on.
That'd be the first time I think a D tackle would go number one though since Big Daddy Wilkinson.
Yeah.
Wilkinson. I think it's been
Yeah.
92. Was that like
Yeah.
92? I think.
Well, who was no, that wasn't
It's been a while. I mean, who was the D tackle for the Raiders for a long time too?
yeah, Richard Seymour went pretty early. Um let's see.
Let's see here. So list of first overall picks. Let me go back here. I mean, okay, so no.
Mario Williams went
Jadeveon
really
Clowney
early.
was a D end.
Yeah,
Um,
Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney went super early. Mario Williams was in
Courtney
'06.
Brown in 2000 was a D
Courtney
end.
Brown, yeah. Dan Wilkinson.
So it looks like it's been Russell Maryland 91. Oh no, Dan Wilkinson in 94.
Yep.
Dan Wilkinson. Yeah, and then 91 it was Russell Maryland. But
Steve
yeah, other than
Ekman.
that, they don't D
Yep.
tackles do not go.
No. But yeah, Bruce Smith was in 1985 and he was arguably one of the best players ever. So that was probably a good pick. I don't know. I just think they could take him, but I don't think he's gonna follow the Lions. It's kind of one of those situations where um I think they would love Jalen Carter, but they just weren't bad enough this year to where they were going to get him. So unless they want to trade up, and I just don't really anticipate the Lions trading up. I don't this year.
So I do want to try something fun because I think in the next couple weeks of episodes, I want to kind of do some rankings and lists again. And so this one I wanted to take this current 53-man roster for the Detroit Lions and have us kind of fantasy draft it and build our starting 22 for offense and defense. So kind of trying to decide where the value belongs, how deep it is in the back end. We were talking early on, is Jared Goff the guy you want to take because Nate
Yeah.
Sudfeld is the only other option if someone else takes him. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm gonna have you take the first overall pick. And then yeah, we'll just break it down from there.
I'll take Jared Goff.
I'll take Panay Sewell.
Okay. I will take Frank Ragnow.
Ooh, that was my other guy I was going back and forth on. Be Taylor Decker.
Okay. I'll take give me Evan Brown.
You really busted me there. I was wondering what you were gonna do there. I was like, oh no.
Like, who's the backup center?
Ross
Also the
Pier-
starting right guard.
Ross Piercebacher is gonna be my option now there. That's great. Love
You don't
that.
want to put Coyote Owosika there?
No, I'm not gonna do that right now. I'll take Jonah Jackson.
All right. I'll take Dan Skipper. I like Skip. The problem is I don't really have a left tackle.
Yeah, your starting tackle is Dan Skipper. That kind of stinks. Yeah, your other guy's gonna have to be like Matt Nelson or something.
Yeah.
Count players on IR, or does it have to be the current 53?
I said current 53. That's what I pulled up.
I was wondering if like Hal Vaitai is an option.
No, he didn't count.
Okay. All right.
That would work. That'd be cool, but
Yeah, no, I just wanted to clarify that first before I start going digging in there. Okay. I will take Amon-Ra St. Brown.
all right. Um, give me DeAndre Swift.
I'll take Aiden Hutchinson.
All right. Take James Houston.
I was hoping for that duo.
You can't have
All right. I will take DJ Shark.
all right. I'll take Jamison Williams.
That one catch and 41 yards and a rush for 40 yards.
Hey, that flea flicker that almost was
I think he
cool.
has 3 drops this year too. Ugh.
He does. But he had that end around, man. The reverse was cool.
It was cool.
Goff just doesn't realize how fast he is. He does not understand that. Like,
I don't think it helps that he really didn't get to go full speed with Goff in practices until like too late. And
right, but
Goff
I'm like,
Goff
just
knew who to
throw.
trust.
I mean, he had him open on that other one too, and I'm like, just throw the ball. He will catch it. He will run under it. I promise.
He just knows who he trusts now. That's the thing.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, I didn't. When Williams was out there, it was kind of like you notice they never put him in on third down.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I'm gonna take Josh Reynolds.
I'll take Khalif.
I will take Kirby Joseph.
Take Jamal. Sorry, I took both backs.
I know it's a weird starting 11.
Because I gotta put Swift out at receiver at this rate.
He's gonna be like Donovan Edwards.
I only have 2 receivers otherwise.
Right. Maybe Sean Elliott.
Right.
I'll toast you at safety.
Give me Alex Anzalone.
That's my next pick.
I went back and forth on Rodriguez, but like,
yeah, well, I'm kind of looking
there's
at
enough depth there, kind of. I mean, I don't love most of their guys, but
yeah, I've kind of shoot. Give me a Lee McNeil.
Okay. I'll take Matt Nelson. I still need one more lineman, right?
Let me check here. I'll take Malcolm Rodriguez, but let me so you have Ragnow, Brown, Skipper, and Nelson. So you still need a guard essentially.
Give me Stenberg.
Unless you're playing Skipper at guard, which you can do. But then you have to find another tackle. I don't think there's another tackle.
There's not another tackle on the roster. I mean,
You're
unless
good.
you Stenberg out there and you start moving guys. So just give me Stenberg as a guard.
Yeah. Um,
I don't hate my line. Actually, I mean, I don't think you could hate most of the guys on that line. So
it's a pretty good line. Um, take take Jeff Okuda.
give me Melifanu.
Hmm. Romeo Aquara.
Derek Barnes.
Take Isaiah Bugs.
Rock Wright.
Take Jerry Jacobs.
Take Will Harris.
Okay. Um, I'll take Shane Zilstra.
Okay. I'll take John Kaminsky.
I guess I will take Chris Board.
You didn't seem thrilled about that.
It's not. I mean, he didn't play a whole lot this year.
I'll take Josh Pascal.
Oh, I'm gonna take Coyote Ashika.
Okay. I'll take CJ Moore.
Spears Bacher here now too.
That's who you took.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take Mike Hughes.
Figure out my positions here. I
I think I'm pretty good.
think we. I think you need two more for 22. So I just got to figure out what I still need because I need three more. You need two more. Um. So my line is set. My D line, I think, is set. Yep, that's got two linebackers. So I'm on a nickel. So I do probably have to add. Yeah, here.
Only one more DB, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's the guy neither of us want.
I'll take Amani Arawari.
My least favorite player on the team, right there. Take I'll take Austin Bryant. A healthy Austin Bryant isn't the worst.
All right. That's the thing. I almost grabbed Julian Aquara, but I'm like, oh, he's on IR. Shoot.
Yep. Romeo's fine, but you already got him.
Are we allowed to grab practice squad guys, or is that not 53?
But I haven't looked at the practice squad, but
Brady Breeze seems tempting.
I forgot he was on the practice squad.
Steven Montez. See. I know I still have to grab my quarterback. That's the
You
thing.
need
I'm
to
looking.
grab Nate Sudfeld at the end here. I'll leave
Uh,
Nate Sudfeld for you, just so you know.
what's that?
I said I'll leave Nate Sudfeld for you. Don't
Oh,
worry.
thanks, man. But I still might go Steven Montez.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, no, I wouldn't. He had a couple good games at Colorado.
2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Okay, so I have my defense set. So what's my off? I need a QB,
Mhm.
but I still need another person after that. Who am I missing? Got my line: Sewell, Decker,
You never
Jackson.
drafted a running back.
Oh, that's right. That's why you grabbed two. You're right. Okay, so I know my next two positions. All right. Well, I do love me some Justin Jackson or Craig Reynolds.
There you go. You didn't want to take Jason Cabinda as a bell cow.
What am I gonna do with that?
I don't know.
I'm gonna basically be just aired out offense if that's the case with Nate Sudfeld. I need to have some kind of
What position am I missing? I think I just need another defensive lineman.
so your defensive line is Austin Bryant, Josh Pascal, John Kaminsky, and
James Houston.
James Houston. So you technically have a D line. Your linebackers are Derek Barnes and Alex Anzalone.
Yep.
So it's probably a DB, but let me double check. Mike Hughes, CJ Moore, Will Harris, Melifonwu, and that's it. So I think you have four DBs.
There's no more DBs on this roster, so
Wait. There isn't?
no.
Dang, you're right. There's not currently. I'll let you grab one off the practice squad. I mean, AJ Parker.
Yeah, I'll just take AJ Parker. He's played.
All right,
He's
then
had
my
actually
Mister
moments. He's had moments where I'm like, I don't hate him.
last year was way better. Actually, it was kind of a
Way
nice
better
surprise.
roster.
And then
Yeah.
my Mr. Relevant is Nate Sudfeld.
I could have taken the kicker.
I almost thought, I thought about Jack Fox out there for quarterback.
Mhm.
Just hand the ball. Jack Fox is very efficient.
You're just gonna punt on like third down randomly. If it's third and long, you're like, there's no chance. We'll punt now.
Justin Jackson can't do it all.
There's a better chance we'll just win field position here.
I'm hoping with the line of Sewell, Decker, Jackson, Alshika, Pierschbacher, that gives enough protection.
I was gonna say you've
Again,
got three starters and then you've got two, wouldn't say holes, but lesser thans.
yeah. I mean, Alshika had a game where he played every snap at guard,
Mhm.
and Pierschbacher was activated quite a bit when Ragnow was dealing with turf toe and
He's
Evan
your
Brown
biggest
was out.
hole for sure. But I've
Yeah.
got what Ragnow, Brown,
Yeah, I mean that's not ideal. Nelson, Stenberg
Nelson's played quite a bit. Skipper played a bunch too.
for early on, yeah, and then at the end they were just a heavy set lineman.
Right. I like Skipper though. Seems like a nice guy.
Skip. Didn't he get week one, no, week two? He got week two game ball
Yeah,
against the Commanders.
it was the game. Yeah, because he was on the they activated him.
I'll uh I'll line up those depth charts at some point so you can kind of see how you want to lay that out. But
I'm gonna have to put
I
Swift at
figure
receiver.
I kind of know how you will. But
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put Swift at receiver. I thought about being really mean and taking Justin Jackson there at the
you
end.
could do a split back, right? A shotgun split back.
I mean, I could if I wanted to. It's still, he basically still a slot receiver at that point. So just throw
Right.
Swift in the slot and
Someone
see
has
what.
to run the flat route, right? But yeah, so that's good for this week. I think the next couple weeks we'll have shorter episodes where it's just kind of ranking.
Yep.
Like I
Not a
really
lot
want
going
to
on. Not a
rank
lot going
Michigan.
on.
Yeah, it's going to
Football
be dead
season.
for a while until the XFL kicks off.
And we'll be able to talk. Yeah, we'll be able to talk about the playoffs too once that rolls around too.
Yeah. All right. Well, appreciate you coming on. We'll see you next week.
Yep.